Good morning, everyone. My name is Nishmita. I am from batch 33. My topic for today's presentation is fog computing architecture for indoor navigation. Before going into the actual topic, I'm going to tell you what are the contents that I'm going to cover in next 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to focus on introduction to fog computing, its history and evolution, how it was before fog computing, why do we need fog computing, what are the challenges that are solved by fog computing, fog computing architecture and the application using indoor navigation, security and privacy issues, and we're going to conclude this presentation later. So for a first or a little introduction of fog, we know what is cloud computing. It consists of cloud data centers that are centrally deployed, and IoT is things that are connected to cloud to interact with each other. Then what is fog computing? It is a key role that plays in the IoT world. It supports the applications and services that do not fit into this cloud paradigm, and it acts as a bridge between this IoT layer and cloud layer. To give a example, consider in our college that if a student wants to say any problem to principal, we cannot directly go to principal. We go through department HODs, and department HODs will convey the message to principal. That is how this fog layer works. It receives IoT and it acts as a bridge between IoT and the cloud layer. You will get to know as we go further. Okay, now literature survey was done on various papers, and the first one was Foundation and Evolution of Modern Computing Paradigm. It focuses on how this fog evolved from cloud computing, its characteristics, and its architecture. But it did not give any details about the applications of fog computing. So I used this experimenting with fog computing architecture for indoor navigation. It describes a prototype model of how this entire architecture can be used in indoor navigation. For other applications to be read, I refer the paper Fog Computing Paradigm, A Rising Need of IoT World. It focuses on how IoT acts as a bridge between cloud and IoT layer, and it also gives some real world examples where this IoT fog computing can be put into use. Now, the fourth paper was fog computing and security issues, which mainly focuses on the security and privacy issues with respect to fog computing. So, with this insight, we are going to start fog computing. Whenever we heard about the term computing, the first thing that comes to our mind is cloud computing. It is not fog computing, but cloud computing. So it is necessary to know how this fog evolved from cloud. Cloud computing was first used by Google and Amazon in the year 2006. What they did was they bought all the service and provided as a rent to users on an hourly or minutely basis. This solved users' problems of hosting and maintaining the server and or other security issues. To solve this made way to large number of technology development, and Internet of Things was also one of them. So, Internet of Things, even though was coined in 1999 by Kevin Ashton, it became popular only after cloud computing came. Now, many many problems in this IoT network was
Yeah,
solved
yeah,
by edge.
Nishmita.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me how many papers you have referred for this?
Ma'am, actually, I've referred to 6 papers, but the main concepts for this presentation I've put into 5.
So
Four.
in those papers,
Yes,
like you have studied, right?
yes.
And what is the topic of yours? Fog. What's that?
For computing. For
Yeah,
computing
yeah.
architecture, have and an application to
So
hmm.
can you tell me how those papers, like what and all you have referred,
Hmm.
how it is related to your topic?
The first one is fog. It actually gives an insight of this how this fog came into existence. You cannot simply start studying the fog. No? It gives an insight of this fog architecture. It's fog computing, like what are the characteristics of this fog computing. And this fog computing architecture is used in indoor navigation. So this fog computing gave this first paper gave that insight, and second paper is how indoor navigation can be done using this fog computing architecture. There was no detailed description of architecture in the second paper, so I referred the first paper for architectural details. And third paper, not just on indoor navigation, where else other things can this fog?
Nishmita,
Yes, ma'am.
uh, no need to explain all the papers individually, okay?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
just tell me, like by referring those papers,
Yes.
what and all you extracted and how it is related to your topic. That
In
I want. That implication part I want, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, referring all this paper, we came to know why fog was needed and how it is used and how it can be used in this applications. Basically, it gave an insight of all fog computing things. I'll explain that through this presentation and you'll get to know. Shall I continue, ma'am? Hello. Can I continue, ma'am?
Yeah, continue.
Okay. So after the Internet of Things, another important computing paradigm came, that is edge computing. This mainly focuses on bringing the services of cloud near the end devices, like near the edge of this devices. So edge computing came. It is a developing paradigm. So extensive research on this made way to fog computing. It was first mentioned and defined in 2012 itself by Flemio Bonomi and Cisco, but it became popular only after edge computing came into existence. It's still a developing paradigm. So how it was before for computing, IoT devices would send the data for analysis to cloud, and cloud would send back the commands and actions required to be performed to IoT devices. This is how it was worked. But how this fog computing works is slightly different. It collects the information from the end devices. It performs the computation in the layer itself, which is a middle layer between cloud and the IoT devices, and it will store the necessary information for time being in the layer, and then it will send back to cloud. For quick responses, it will use this layer. So Cisco defined fog as a highly virtualized platform that provides compute, storage, and networking services between the end devices and traditional cloud computing centers, but it is not exactly located at the edge of the network. It is just a layer that acts between cloud and IoT devices. It is not a replacement of cloud, but it is extension of cloud. As I told earlier, in our college scenario, suppose whenever you want to maintain or you want to interact with the principal, you go through HOD and then we get the past information to principal. This in real world scenario, this HOD acts like a fog layer in technical terms. Now, why is this fog computing necessary? Even though this cloud computing is already there, it is difficult for a cloud computing to analyze large number of data that are produced by these IoT devices. According to Cisco, 847 gigabytes of data will be generated by IoT devices by 2021, that is next year. So managing this data by cloud alone, it is very difficult because this data has both useful and non-useful information. So fog computing reduces the challenges that cloud computing faces. Now we look at the challenges that fog computing faces. It reduces low latency. Latency is the time taken for a device to send and receive data. And some of the IoT applications like surveillance camera and healthcare management system, they require quick responses, and this system helps in providing those quick responses because it is near to end devices than cloud. And high network bandwidth is amount of data that can be sent through a network. As I told earlier, IoT sends large number of useful and useless data. Sending all this data to cloud increases bandwidth. Processing is done by fog layer, so it reduces the network in this bandwidth. Then third challenge is the limited resources. Some IoT appliances like microcontrollers or drones, they cannot directly communicate with cloud. For that, they require high programming abilities or high programming to be done. To reduce this, fog layer acts as a middle layer of interaction, so that problem is also solved. Security and protection, even though in fog computing or fog layer is more secure than cloud layer because IoT and devices and cloud do not directly interact with each other, and they reduce or they store the data for only temporarily. So this produce more security than cloud layer, and scalability is amount of data that can be added is much larger when compared to cloud computing. Now, the main important aspect of this is fog computing architecture. Over last few years, many research has been done on this topic. And there are two models that are defined: three-layer architecture and the open fog consortium, which is a organization which promotes fog computing. It has proposed this entire architecture, which is a further improvement of three-layer architecture. We are going to look at both these architecture. The first architecture is three-layer architecture. It has three layers: IoT, fog layer, and cloud layer. IoT, we all know, consists of IoT devices, sensors, mobile phones, or any other wearable devices. It senses the data and sends to upper layer and also receives the data. And fog layer is the main core layer of this architecture. It consists of fog nodes. Fog nodes are nothing but fog devices where this computation and temporary storage of data is possible. These fog nodes can be anywhere between cloud and end devices, and the number of fog nodes it is used. A number of fog nodes to be deployed is application specific, and cloud in general we all know it's used to process and store data. But in this scenario, the amount of data it processes and stores is less compared to traditional cloud computing. And the second layer that was proposed by second model that was proposed by Open Fog Consortium is this entire architecture. This entire architecture is a further development of three-layer architecture where IoT and cloud layer is the same. But in this fog layer, fog nodes are also placed in form of layers. These layers can be of any numbers, so it is called as entire architecture. Based on the proximity with IoT devices, it can be classified as three types: lowest tier, intermediate tier, and highest tier. Lowest tiers are those which are near to end devices, and highest tiers are those which are near to cloud, and middle tiers are called as intermediate tiers. So here the data is received by the lowest tier first. It processes and removes, normalizes, and acquires the data, and then it sends to intermediate layer. It also processes the data and filters the data and transforms to necessary shape, and it sends to a higher tier. Higher tier will aggregate all these data and will send to cloud. So as number of layers increases, the amount of data that will be present in the fog nodes will reduce and intelligence increases. This is entire architecture. Now using this as the base, we are going to give I'm going to explain an application of this entire architecture, that is indoor navigation system. It is just a prototype model. It can be deployed. This system also has three layers. Layer 1 consists of devices which are at the edge of the network, and they're called as mist nodes. This is nothing but the lowest tier nodes, as I mentioned in the entire architecture. For the experimental purpose, they are using ESP32 brewer module, and ESP IDF software is used for programming. ESP32 brewer module is used because it has inbuilt Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And for interfaces, there are three interfaces that are attached. Bluetooth low energy, that is nothing but the Bluetooth, which consumes low energy. Wi-Fi station interface is the interface that helps to communicate between two systems. Systems can be anything like a phone, mobile, Wi-Fi, laptop, anything. And software enable access point. It is a software that needs to act a device to act as a virtual router. And layer 2 is the fog nodes, that is the second layer fog nodes. This is represented by Raspberry Pi 3 module. The same reason is same because it has inbuilt Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and it also has microcard to store the data, and it acts as a Wi-Fi access point and has MQTT broker in it. MQTT is the message querying telemetry transport, which is the protocol, but MQTT broker is a server which is used to receive information from client and pass information to necessary clients. And layer 3 consists of MQTT telemetry transport broker, that is a cloud, which is connected to MQTT client. MQTT client can be any devices that are able to connect to this cloud. And for a scenario of indoor navigation, the 3 steps to be followed: identifying the location of user, providing path information, providing notification after the destination is reached.
Are you using any algorithm here?
No, ma'am. We are using the protocol,
Which protocol?
MQTT protocol. How I'll explain in the next slide.
Yeah, you just move to that. You can speak about MQTT.
Yes, ma'am. But I'll give just 2 minutes. I'll give a brief introduction in 1 minute of those two topics. Otherwise, it is difficult to understand. So first is to provide the location of user. We need this exact. We need to know the exact position of the user. For that, we use something like Bluetooth interface, that is BLE Beacon. BLE Beacon is nothing but a Bluetooth radio transmitter. How it works is, initially this BLE Beacon is deployed anywhere, and whenever a smartphone comes in contact with this will extract the ID of this phone and it will send to server. Server will respond accordingly, and the response will be displayed on phone. In this case, it is deployed in that ESP32 model, and smartphone, whenever a phone will come in contact with this model, it will detect the phone number, sent to server, and server will send map here. Notification actually can be anything, but in this case, it will send a map of current location to phone, and with that phone, you can display the map will display on your phone. And to provide path information, there is this Beacon broadcast and observer mechanism. Here, initially these all those nodes will be there in their ideal state. They'll be waiting for a signal, and whenever this mobile phone comes in contact with it, it detects the signal, and based on the distance between these two signals, it will analyze the distance, strength of the signal that is coming from the mobile, and the distance between the next node will be calculated through fog interactions. To be specific, like if two or more mobiles will connect to same node, then the node will connect to the mobile whose received signal strength is high. So this is how path information will be provided. And the third is notification using MQTT protocol. This is how where MQTT protocol works. This is a client-server protocol. First, MQTT broker will act as a server, and client can be any device. Here, what happens is it's based on subscribe and unsubscribe mechanism. This server will have many topics, and clients have to subscribe to a particular topic. Whenever information on this particular topic is published, then the message will be transmitted to all the clients who have subscribed to that topic. How here it is used, and the topics will be stored in the form of directories. How it will be stored in file systems? It will be stored in the form of directories separated by slash. You can find the location of it by using any slash. Now, coming to this system, here whenever a person has come to a hall, say you're inside a home, it is your hall, and there this in architecture is deployed, and the MQTT client that is there in the third layer will send a message or publish a message, say reached hall. If you are subscribed to the topic hall, then you will receive the message reached hall. And if you have not subscribed to the topic, you won't get the message. And if a person is somewhere else other than your home, if you're outside your home and still you have subscribed to the topic hall, whenever a person enters your hall, you will also get a message that someone has reached your hall. That is how this notification system works in this MQTT protocol. And other than this applications, fog can be used in smart grids, smart traffic lights, connected vehicles, wireless sensors and actuators networks, decentralized smart building, etc. And with security and privacy issues in fog computing, it is more, even though it is more secure, we have to maintain some privacies of users. Those privacy include identity privacy, data privacy, usage privacy, and location privacy. Identity privacy is nothing but users' sensitive information like username, password, bank account number, CVV, etc. And data privacy is nothing but the data that you are going to transmit or communicate between forwards. Sometimes the data may be important, so you have to provide privacy to those data. Another thing is usage patterns can be user patterns can be analyzed in these, and based on that, any other decisions can be taken. And other than this is location privacy. Whenever a person has to travel, location will be on. So it is important to provide the privacy to this location of the users. So other than these, there are certain threats to fog computing, and those fog computing are vulnerable to attacks, and some of those attacks are forgery, tampering, spamming, cyber jamming, eavesdropping, denial of service, collusion, and man in the middle attack. So that is about fog computing. We discussed what are the fog computing, how it evolved, what is fog computing, why it was necessary, challenges that are solved by fog computing, and applications of fog computing. Also, we focused on security and privacy issues with respect to fog computing. For further, we can use this fog computing in different scenarios, or we can deploy this indoor navigation system also. That's it. Thank you.
Namita, I have four questions.
Yes, sir.
First one is, what is the difference between fog computing and edge computing?
Sir, edge is bringing the services near the end of the device, near the devices itself. And fog computing is bringing the services of the services a layer between the edge and the fog. For example, as I said, our college has principal. For a
Okay.
principal,
Second question.
Yes, sir.
First question I have convinced. Second
Yes.
question, why do we represent our whole system in the form of layered architecture? We have represented the fog computing in two architecture. One is three-layer architecture and
Yeah.
n-layer architecture.
Yes, sir.
Why do we want to represent any system in terms of layered architecture? What is the advantage?
Sir, because it can be horizontally deployed and vertically deployed also. Like
If any error arise in between any layer, it can be easily
yes, sir,
rectified.
instead of centralized system, it makes the system to work in a distributed manner.
Okay. Third question is can you give any practical application of indoor navigation system?
So there is no practical example. It's just a prototype model which is not yet.
No, I am asking example. You know any application
No, sir. Like
for indoor navigation system
no,
where
sir.
it is applicable?
No, sir.
It will be applicable for blind people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. The last question is, what is the difference between algorithm and prototype?
Sir,
You
algorithm.
use some prototype, right? Protocol.
Protocols, yes, sir.
So what is the difference between protocol and algorithm?
Sir,
Madam asked, do you have any algorithm? You told no, I have only protocol. What
yes,
is the difference between algorithm and protocol?
Sir, protocol is rules through which two devices have to communicate with each other.
It's only for the communication. Protocol is used only for the communication.
Sir, basically protocols are nothing but rules to be followed. And
what is algorithm?
Algorithm is steps to be followed.
Okay. What is the difference?
Sir, you can skip steps, but you cannot, reach these rules. There is certain steps. I mean, there is a pattern in which you have to follow. Rules that do not have any patterns.
Okay. Any other? Mine is over. Okay. Questions is over from my side. Okay, Namita.
No.
Madam, you can ask, madam. Any other question like Likita? Likita can ask any question from your side. Okay, shall I leave now?
Sir, if
Okay, if it is over, I'm leaving because I have other meeting at
yes, sir,
3:15.
done.
Okay, okay, bye.
Hmm. Ma'am, ma'am, shall I exit? Ma'am, shall I exit?
Yeah, sure.